This conference will now be recorded.
Excuse me, Kumar. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Can you check now? Can you hear me?
Yes, Kumar. Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So let me share the screen again and let me know. Now you can see my screen, right? Okay. So now we are discussing the next section of the routing elements where we start with the splitters. Okay. So again, splitters is having a four types of splitters. Okay, so we will go through one by one. So first we will discuss about the general splitter. Okay, so what is the main purpose of having these splitters? Um, the main purpose of the splitters is to split the uh, split the nodes as a individual separate messages. Okay, and those has to be processed in the um, yeah, the business logic into the further steps, and you wanted to combine again after that, then we will use those records combining by using gather step. So splitter and gather will work closely, and uh, and it it doesn't that means it is not we have to use both always. That is also not true. If you wanted to use splitter, we can use it as a individually. Okay, if you want to gather separately has to use, we can use gather as well. Okay, but the when we are splitting the documents and we wanted to combine, then we have the combination of using both. Okay, splitter and gather. So let's look at for the splitter. So the splitter is, for example, you have the you have 1,000 records. Okay, in the message once you, okay, when you're extracting. So those 5,000 records you wanted to split into 5,000 individual messages. Okay, I mean it depends on the business logic. Okay, I mean, for example, I will tell you one scenario. You are extracting the personal data. Okay, so each record again you wanted to uh, each record you want to get the data by using content enricher for the additional data, and that message you have to be processed separately. Okay, so imagine if you 5,000 records, if you are extracting the data, and that will be treated as one message. Okay, and you wanted to process separate message. So, okay, What is the need for the processing separately? But you wanted to send that data to an external system separately. Okay, so wherever you can use the splitter, the main purpose is to split those documents. Okay, how you wanted to split, whether like a two messages or two records or three records in one message or each record in one message, that you can calculate by using the grouping, but the main objective of the splitter is to split those documents. Okay, um, so after that we will use the gather as well to combine that. Okay, so as I told you, that is not mandatory, but is a good combination to use for the both if you want to combine again after that. Okay, so now first let's look at the splitter configuration. Now how to do the splitter. So the first is use the content modifier. In the content modifier, we are updating the message like this. Okay, so there is a, so this you can treat as a one message or multiple messages. It should be a one message only. Why? Because the node list, it has started with one, right, and ending with the same node. So in between whatever the records are there, each node it represents one record, right? So student here, it represents one record. It represents another record. So like that. Okay. Then now I use the splitter. Okay. So when you use the splitter, what happens is, so the splitter section will be there where under routing elements. Okay. Under routing elements, the splitter will be there. So the configuration will be like this. So expression type. Here expression type is the two options. One is XPath and the line break. XPath will be given for the XML messages, and the line break if you want to use for the non-XML messages, you can use that as well. So first we selected XPath. So in the XPath you should give the XPath expression. Expression is should be node. Okay. If you give up to the again up to the elements, then it will be treated within the node. Okay, so you should give always like node list to the node. I mean, because we want to split based on the records, right? We don't want to split based on the field. So you can give the XPath here. Then here the next step is a grouping. Okay, so grouping means how many records you want to be grouped. Okay, so here we mentioned three. Okay, so three means three records in one group. Okay, so that means if you look at here the original message, so three we have given grouping with three, right? So as a node you treat as one, right? So here this is one record, another record, and third record. So first three will be grouped into one record. Okay, another three will grouped into, sorry, one first three will grouped into one splitter, and another three of records will be grouped into another splitter, another splitter, like that till it completes. Okay, so if you say one, then one record. Okay, so if you just put it a blank value, then it treated as a one. So like that uh, you can make it this value. Next options are the streaming. Streaming means it is like what do you call, it is like a broadcasting, the moment it reads, it will just read the chunks of the data as much as it can, so it goes on into the from the system, it will goes on to the next step. Okay, should not wait for completion. Whatever it reads first, for example, first three records it reads, it will goes second records, second grouping, so it will goes when you stay streaming. Parallel processing. Parallel processing means parallelly you want to send those messages like first three grouping, second three. Okay, instead of going one by one, you wanted to process parallelly, so you can just click on checkbox. Okay, but better to go one by one because it will be calculated in that way by using the grouping, right? Stop on exception. So if any get an error, what will happen? Stop at this step and just go to the end step, right? So that is called a stop on exception. So by default you put these two steps, streaming and stop on exception, and if you want the parallel passing then you can select this one. Okay, so this is for the gender splitter. So now you just use our mail connector to see how many splitters that are coming into the mail. Okay. So now we have another option. What is another option we have? General split line break, right? That also is a line general splitter with another one is the another one is the message will be like this. Okay, the message will be, so it's not an XML message. And then you use the general splitter. Use the expression type is line break. So here no grouping here. What will happen? Each line will treat it as a one splitter. For example, if you treat as a 3, okay, then the first 3 lines will be grouped into one splitter, another 3 lines will be grouped into another splitter. It goes like that, right? Then you use the mail, the general splitter, like that. What splitter. So now let's deploy and see the mail.
Kumar,
Yeah,
is like I'm trying to understand this in more detail. Is Twitter like a loop, which can it be used for a looping purpose?
yeah, sure. So we will use for this as a loop also, but that is another type. That is IDOC,
Okay.
sorry, iterative splitter. So in
Oh,
the
okay.
iterative splitter, we make it as a loop as well.
Okay. Okay.
We'll see later. So, but whereas in the general splitter, it just focus on into the not in the loop. It goes in the sequential manner, like first three, like that. But whereas in iterative splitter, you can use conditional looping. Okay, so till satisfy this condition, you have to split the documents. Okay,
Okay.
let's see how. So if you see that we have to see the X path, right? Okay. So X path we have given the condition is like this. Go to the gender splitter processing, and you are given grouping as 3, right? So grouping as 3 means if you just put the message now, go to the bottom. Okay. So you can take this one. Next, you can put it back in. So now this is 1 and 2 and 3, right? Yeah. So these 3 will be processed as a one splitter. So that is why you are getting one email separately, which contains 3 elements. Okay. Where are the 3 elements? You start with ID1, ID10, ID2, right? Yeah, if you see here, XML version. Anyway, the XML version will be generated by the splitter for the XML messages. Okay. Then it started with student, right? Student ID 1 node, 10 and 2. This is just as a one node, one splitter it was. And now the second one is 3, 4 and 5. This is another message. So if you go to the next one, so here it mentioned XML versions, students, student 3, 4, 5. Okay. So you're getting the point. The same message, but you have the structure. Now it is splitting into the separate messages. So now again 6, 7, 9. These 3 nodes are clubbed into one splitter. And finally there is only one record. So it is treated as another one because finally it left with one record. So that is processed into another splitter.
What's the maximum number of splits that can happen?
Maximum number is unlimited. You can
Okay.
use it. It keep on processing. So but if it is a more data that is consuming over the the tenant CPU and all, maybe you will get the like the timeout kind of errors related, but there is no limit to process these splitters. It goes on as long as the tenant is processing.
Okay.
And another thing is line break. That is not useful much, but let's have a see. Let's have a look at it. So line break, what we have done, we have given the 3 records, right? So 3 as a group. So 3 records has come up here, and since the last one is as a one, so it treated as a separate message. Okay, so if we look at here, how many lines are there in the message? There are 4 lines, right? So if you group by 3, then 2 messages will come, right? First 3 into one message, second 3 into one message. The first one is anyway header, so that will treat it as a header line. So main thing is here gender splitter. Okay. So this general splitter is processing this. Any questions on this? Any?
I'm just trying to understand the use case of this particular general splitter. I mean, would it like would there be a requirement where they would say that yeah, after these many number of lines we need a new file or something?
Okay, so you mean to say that what is the requirement for using this, right?
Yes.
Which situations and all we use these splitters?
Okay.
Um, Okay, so for that, let's say for example, the company code is there. Okay, so company code is having a like a legal entity. Under the legal entity, there should be a business unit, right? Under the business unit, division, department, it goes in that way in the organizational structure, right?
Yes. Yes.
So now, the requirement is pull the pull the different departments, okay, and each department has to be sent to the other separate file, you know
Okay.
each
Okay.
department, whenever they create each department, the file name has to be treated
Separate.
as a separate
Okay.
file, so that it contains that department details like a department id, description, date
Okay.
of validity, so and so details will be there. So
Okay.
when they're processing, they can see easily, so for that they will process into that. So this is one of the requirement, like that there are many.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So wherever they wanted to split as a separate, so they can use.
Okay. Okay. That helps. Thank
So now we will look at into the um, we'll look at into the second scenario. Okay. Just so now we will see the IDOC splitter. Mm, by the way, just uh, take the by using this gender splitter, try to practice with the same scenario what I told you. Just extract 10 departments from the system and you process it as a file name. Okay, maybe that is also an advantage for you.
you. I
um,
was just thinking about that, and in that case, I mean, my understanding is that we would have an expat expression type, and within the node list node, I mean, and within the node we have the department as a field,
yeah.
and over here, when we say department as a field, and